Well, we are back with an amazing guest who has a powerful, miraculous testimony that we are going to kind of keep talking and digging into. But Dr. Neil Goodman is a doctor, and he's an author, and he's a scientist, and he has a decorated military career, and he's also, not by but by himself, self-proclaimed skeptic. So the fact that he had such a supernatural encounter with Jesus in such an incredible, tangible way just speaks so much to God's glory and the extent that he will go to win his kids and show how real he is. So maybe for those, Dr. Neil or Dr. G, as your patients so affectionately call you, let's just share a little bit. Let's go to that moment that brought you into a revival and you start having this tangible experience with God.
Right.
There are supernatural manifestations.
Absolutely.
So let's just kind of fill everyone in, go back and review that for a minute or two.
Just to recount that briefly,
Yeah.
I went to a revival as a Jewish man who didn't really feel like he belonged in that church. And I was invited to a revival by Sid Roth and accepted Jesus into my life after a very long ordeal of getting to that point, and experienced an anointing that I didn't realize that I had until I brought it to Sid's attention to ask him to explain to me what had happened, because I had a physical transformation that I could not explain as a physician. As a physician, you expect something to have a scientific explanation. And so for this to happen to me, where I had essentially burn marks appear in the center of my palms after having a revival and accepting Christ into my life, and preceding that had rivulets of gold mercury running in my lifelines, I had no idea what had happened. And it was explained to me that I had been anointed, and I accepted the mantle, that responsibility, but didn't know and didn't understand what it meant.
Wow. Well, I looked up what the gold was, or what it represents in the Bible, and it is the manifestation of the wealth of heaven. It actually is the anointing. And so that gold dust on your hand is a biblical reality for when God's anointed you, and it also stands for the end time glory. And so I love how when you went and met with Sid Roth, he explained that to you.
Right. And Jennifer, it wasn't dust. It was liquid.
Wow.
It was liquid mercury that literally rolled off of my palms.
And as a physician, you understand things about mercury that the average person wouldn't understand.
It's not possible in the scientific realm. It's not scientific. And like I said, I'm a skeptic.
Yeah.
And for me to accept that is apparently what I had to have happen to me in order for me to come to the realization that Christ entered my life that night.
Well, I love that he met you in that way. And I think that brings so much hope to viewers that are watching, that maybe they're praying for a lost loved one or a husband or someone whose heart is hard, or that they need facts, they need science, they need something, and that God would supernaturally arrest your heart and pull you in to the kingdom. Now, let's fast forward. You had that encounter, you continued, to do your ministry. Now your vocation, I'm sure you're seeing differently because you were told you were anointed.
Not exactly.
Okay.
I was in a corporate practice of medicine where the practice wasn't mine. The heart of the office was not mine. I was working for someone else. It was just it's all about numbers. It's about money. It's about, the business of medicine. And so I really wasn't able to use that anointing, and I just sort of packaged it up and carried on, and I have regret over it. I have regret that it took a long time for me to realize that I didn't have the capability to use that anointing the way that I probably should have.
So what was the catalyst that helped shift you into, something's got to change, something's different.
Right.
Because many times we don't make those decisions. Circumstances, culture,
Yeah.
things beyond our control.
So fast forward to present day, just about 9 months ago. Here I am in a corporate practice that was bought out from my private practice, so I don't own it any longer. And I realized that society and the powers to be were making some demands of me that I didn't feel like I wanted, a place that I didn't want to go. And it concerned the care of children and what they were being asked of me to do. And I felt that what they were requesting me to do was to, in fact, lie about the administration of certain drugs to cure certain diseases, and I'll just say it very vaguely like that, and not to tell the whole truth of what that drug was. And I just said, this is experimental. I don't think it should be given to children. And I felt